sipping wine in a robe. I look too good to be alone. My house clean, my pool warm. Just shake smooth like a newborn. We should be dancing, romancing in the east wing, in the west wing, in this mansion is happening. I am playing games, every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open, girl. I'ma leave the door open. Let you feel the way I feel, and you want me like I want you to love me. Tell me that you can. All right, peace and love, everybody. Coming through this week with stock market analysis, the TRU report. And, kind of taking a step back from doing these videos and whatnot, but I really wanted to come and share today and, what's going on, what I'm seeing in the markets and whatnot. And, a lot of times we get caught up in pigeonholing ourselves and having a bias and things like that. And we put ourselves in a box. And we could go into a week thinking a certain way, but that's not actually what's really there. What I'm saying is we have to start, the way the markets have been looking and whatnot, we have to start looking at the markets and trading what's right there in front of our faces, as opposed to, so let me get to it then. These cliches that are often tossed around, right? That the trend is our friend, right? Well, the markets have been going down for quite some time now, and they just are, right? About your bullish bias. It doesn't care about what you think a stock should be. It doesn't care that you think that it has to pivot and reverse at a particular support level. Because let's look at, how about we go to SPX and look at the futures. And here's all my everything, how my charts look and whatnot. I'm big on moving averages. I like moving averages because moving averages also serve as a support and a resistance. So it kind of helps me with channels and let me be able to identify reversals and pivots and things like that. So I like those indicators. But so we're looking at SPX, and let me take off these glasses. We're looking at SPX, and it's been coming down. Earlier in the video, I remember on January 10th, I did a video about how this trend line here, which is, if we pan out a bit, we see this trend line all the way from back when the market tanked in 2020, in March of 2020. And so this first touch happened in October. And so I drew a trend line from, and it kind of held it. And finally, in January, it broke through, right? So let's look at SPX, which is basically the S&P 500. And let's see what it's been doing on a weekly since that week right here in January 10th.
The market has been pulling. It's broken through this big this trend line. So that trend is breaking. We see the moving averages are starting to hook. They're starting to curl. It has already crossed bearish on the weekly chart. Um, and basically, what we have here is a trend. If we put a trend line on this chart right here, and we run it right down here, it kind of we got a rally last Thursday and Friday in the markets, and that caused this reversal. Um, but again, that was a short week. It was only 4 days in that week, so it's not really a full week, but it is a week technically. So, but it basically ran to a low and ran into a wall up here at this resistance at the trend line. And now this red candle here is what the market is futures market started at just a few hours ago. So uh, it is already, in a few hours of futures being open, it is already pulled back to 50%. It has wiped out 50% of the gains from last week total. What am I saying? We say the trend is our friend, right? So if we believe that, I believe that the trend is my friend. If the trend is my friend, this trend is still telling the market there's a very good chance that it could pull back, and it's doing that right now. So, um, you know, this candle here, typically when you have a long bottom and tail like that, I call these a chick with a stick. You did. One of these that signals a reversal. Um, However, it did nothing but reverse right back into a brick wall of resistance. So um, there's nothing really. It's nothing about the market that's telling me that is going to break out and run. We got some good runs on a few stocks, on Thursday and Friday, you know, but that tends to happen when the market is, it can't just fall. Well, it can, but we hope it don't fall just continually. So it has to be some type of pullback direction. It's no different than if it's on a bullish trajectory. The market is running bullish. It's no different. At some point, it's going to pull back, right? So uh, everything that happened on this bullish run, we got to apply those same principles when things are right in front of us. This is, I'm not making this up. This isn't even my bias. This is what the market is telling me. It's right there in my face that things are pulling back, you know. And so let's look at the daily. And we can see I had put a trend line here. And basically, it's in the wedge right here. And the way it's pulling back right now, man, um, it very well looks like it wants to take out the previous day in pre-market. It looks like it's going to retrace and take out this previous candle. Um, but who knows? It may reverse sharply by the morning time. But I'm again looking at what I'm looking at right now. Everything tells me that the market, all those gains are about to be wiped out. Why? Because the trend is our friend, and everything about this since the beginning of this year. Not what I I'm not making this up. It's right there in our face. The market is pulling back. You know, we got about a week of bullish movement, and it tried. It was fighting the break. It actually did break through the trend line, but it pulled back again. And it's steady. You know, I call that yanking and pulling, right? When it runs, I call that pulling, right? But it's something about when you get these big red candles, man, it really yanks that price, man. If you look at majority of any charts, man, most of the big, huge candles that you're going to find are going to be red for the most part. So the market's been yanking, for days, for weeks at a time. Um, so you have to be very careful with um, your trading right now. If you are getting in the calls, um, what I've been doing, right, is I've been scalping calls. What do I mean by scalping? Now, I don't know, what them white boys say, or whoever the people who make up the lingo of trading and things like that. I don't know all that stuff, but I know for me, um, scalping is basically a day trade, right? Something that you plan on getting in for a very short period of time, but um, typically something like 20 minutes or something like that. But for me, just a day trade. Let's make this thing simple. It ain't got to be all technical like that. So you go into these calls, meaning that I'm not holding any calls overnight. I don't give a damn who it is. Why? Because um, the market is pulling back. However, there is a caveat to that. I'm glad I just caught that. Now, just because the S&P 500 is pulling real hard, and it is, that doesn't mean that other stocks aren't running, right? Now, it's up to you to find those that are running, that are bullish, while the S&P is bearish, right? Such as if we look at energy companies, they've been kind of consolidating for a while, for a couple weeks now. You know what I mean? So I'm expecting this to eventually pop off. That could be in the morning, especially with the way that the market is pulling back. Then there's the fundamental side, which I hardly ever use fundamentals, but this is like, this oil tends to run up with, they got this war going on and things like that. So those are factors. Um, but my point is that there are some things that will be running, but it's not something. Even this is pretty ugly. This is for the Chevrons and the Exxons and uh, Oxy Petroleum and Marathon Oil, all those companies. It's kind of been sideways for a few days. I mean, a few weeks. I see this. I would not be surprised if this thing gaps up in the morning and just takes off. Uh, at least I'm a little biased because right now I'm getting down with a marathon. So hopefully that goes in my favor. But let's get back to the markets. Let's look at. Um, we're gonna look at the Nasdaq futures as well, and we see the same thing. The Nasdaq we see right here has already taken out um, the previous low. It's already created a lower low, you know, in the futures, So again, here it is. It's been since January. The Nasdaq has just been dropping. We got a little pop for a couple of days, consolidate, drop, but then we take a couple days. It's just been two very bullish days, right? When the market give you those opportunities, take advantage of them. You can't fall in love with these calls, not when the market is constantly pulling down. You know, um, I just wouldn't do that. That just in these times, it ain't time to try to be right. You know, trade what's right in front of you. The market, everything about these charts is telling me that it's in a bearish trend, and it's tend to everything is going down. It's the same thing with the Dow. Let's look at the Dow. Same thing. On Thursday, the Dow had open and fell off a cliff, but it retraced hard and came right back and closed just a little lower than the open, right? So that signal, even though the candle is red, that signals a reversal. And sure enough, on Friday it popped. But look, it popped, but it popped right back into this trend zone, trend line, right? It popped right back into my 10 moving average right here. When you got a moving average, which is why I like them, when a stock tends to hit a moving average and it's coming down, I call that knifing it. You know what I mean? Because it like jabs into it, and it's going to drive that price down. You know, that's what tends to happen. So I got, not only do I have my moving average here, which is, again, moving averages are support and resistance as well. I got that, and I got my trend line here. So, you know, I'm not surprised that the market is pulling, um, that the Dow is pulling based off of what I'm seeing right in front of me, you know. So in these times, you have to. What's been helping me, I should say. I don't want to sound like I'm a guru or something, because I'm not. Um, I'm just somebody who some people deal with and whatnot, and I'm really doing this for them to get them in the mindset of thinking, um, I can't just be trying to swing these calls just because of this. This ain't nothing but a major pump fake. This is all it is a pump fake. It ain't do nothing but go right back here and retest. But look at what it did. It created a lower low. Lower low, listen, and you can see my charts, right? Here it is. I got an ADX. I used directional index with the ADX. I use the stochastic. I've been talking about moving averages and everything like that. But listen, you can't go wrong talking about lower lows and higher highs. That matters. You know, um, this pulled back extra hard. Once it retested, consolidated a little bit, it pulled back even lower. This low here. When it did reverse, it was still low over here. So what does that signal to me? There's a very good chance that it might, at bare minimum, come back down here and retest in this area. It's the same thing that's going on with the S&P. Same thing. Um, this low here is lower than these lows over here. We see it's on a downward trend, right? So chances are, I'm waiting when it get in this little iffy period. And yes, it's when it's bullish like that, you want to get on here with your calls and whatnot. But when you start seeing it pulling back like this, the trend is our friend. That's all I'm trying to say. Um, so I've been seeing a lot of uh, different people that I deal with and whatnot uh, talking about their hard shares and things like that and what they should do. Um, and it's kind of an unfair thing because I really don't like telling people what they should do because that's their money. You know what I mean? Um, but here's what I did, right? I learned how to read charts so I could make money as well as save money. Now, I know there's people who say that you're supposed to hold these stocks forever and you should never sell them and everything like that. But the way my brain is set up, that don't work for me. Um, now because um, if I see something that get up here, way up here, and I start seeing a drop, a trend of, the market is steady coming down, steady, that's why I learned the charts so that I got rid of all that shit. I got rid of all them hard shares, right? Once I started seeing the pullback, we're looking at companies like Square that was up to 289. Square, I'm not making it up. Square was way up here, 289 in August, and it's just been zoop, 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 steady dropping. It had gotten down as low as on Thursday. It got down as low as $82 on Thursday. Um, that's a $200 loss. You know, so this is why I learned how to. This is why I learned the charts, because there's no way in hell that doesn't make sense to me to hold on to something that I see with my own eye that's telling me that it is coming down. Right? You don't get listen. I invest, I trade. To get money, not to hold on to some what somebody else's theory, because that theory just don't work for me. Right? Come up with your own trading plan and things like that. I'm trying to you know say what I want to say without saying it and it come off the wrong way. But you're gonna have to figure out some things on your own on how to handle you. You're a money manager, right? That's what you are. You're not a trader. You're not an investor. You're a money manager, right? So that's your job to manage your money. You got to figure out what works best for you. You know. Um, but let me get back to these charts um, and whatnot. I wanted to come and say that, hey, what's up, Rochelle? I just really wanted to come through and say that and share that about trading what's right in front of you, and not getting caught up with your bias and thinking that it has to go this way. Because here's the thing, right? Somebody was saying that every time Square hit a support level, where it got to reverse because it's at 220, it's at 228. It has to reverse here. Yeah, it did, but guess what? It kept on coming down. Then when it got to about 200, they said, "Oh yeah, this is my favorite support level. This is where I buy all the time, right? And I always get a pop." Well, yeah, well, it came on down because you said it couldn't come any lower than 200. Well, yeah, it came down to 170. He said, "Well, nah, ain't no way in hell it could go any lower than that." And next thing you know, before you know it, you're down to 80 some bucks. Got to trade what's right in front of us. Um, and anyway, if you all have any questions or anything like that, any tickets you want me to check out, hit me up and I'll get to it. But for now, I've been on here for a while. I'm gonna be coming through. I think I'm gonna start going doing live trading during the week. Um, I think I'm gonna start doing that. So start looking out for that. Some days during the week, I'll just go live and show you what I'm seeing and whatnot, because I don't want people to get burned. It's really the markets is, you know, you can get caught in a lot of blood real quick too. So the trend is our friend. Let's trade what's right in front of us and not overcomplicate things. As for what I'm looking at this week, uh, I'm looking at the S&P, and I'm not gonna make this thing very difficult for myself. Trading the companies or whatever, that's cool too, but I'm just looking at the overall market. I'm allowing the overall market to create opportunities what I mean by that is, okay, I see a reversal or something like that. Well, I know what tends to run with certain major indices and whatnot. So if the S&P, if SPY does break out, break past 450. Well, I got 448, 450 ish. If it does break through there, um, how far will it go? You know, I'll allow that to, by breaking out, I'll allow that to make me determine whether I'm going to jump in, what I'm going to jump in, however it go. Um, you can't get too caught up in things that are overextended. Some things I've been running for days and days, um, a couple of days, just like Thursday and Friday, but it's going against the trend. So basically, all it did was pull back and now for a stronger move to the downside. All those types of things you have to be mindful of. Anyway, peace and love to everybody. Uh, I'll be back soon. All right, Rochelle, peace and love.